Welcome back to another great episode of Midnight Mayhem. We're back. We're back with this Argentinian director. What's his name? Demian? Lurgan?
I don't know. you're the one who doesn't know.
Coming back from the last episode. He was Demian. We're back with another one of his movies. Demian Rugna. He's the same director who directed Terrified.
Terrified, which you did last week.
What we did last week. This one, this is his most recent movie, and it's his most acclaimed movie so far out of all his movies. So I've seen it. You guys have seen it too. I highly recommended it when I first saw it.
Yeah, if you watched the roulette episode or the life update episode that went into the roulette portion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Those are two separate videos now. Watch them both.
Another one.
They're not.
Are they?
One of them's already up.
I thought they were together.
It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
We're moving in.
All right.
If you're a fan of our channel and watched all of our videos,
Yep.
you know we were going to talk about both of these movies, one after the other.
Yeah.
If you actually
Basically, this
watched
was
the
Leo's
videos.
recommendation, so that's why he's going to host us and lead us off today. So, and then I'm here to just give my opinion because I don't know, man. I've heard a lot of different opinions about this movie.
But before we get into it, let's go ahead and start off with our introductions, as always.
I'm Bobby, and I love horror.
Leon, I love movies.
And I'm Raymond, the other guy.
So, I first saw this movie. It was a shocker when I first saw it. You know, I was like, this is nuts. Has a lot of good things about it, and I figured you guys will like it. So, a couple of days later, we went to the movies, Gurren Lagann. You know?
Yeah, first time debuting, and
Yeah.
that was awesome. 4DX.
So shaking.
And then when we were coming out of the movies, I was like, guys, I know we have, I forgot what movie we were doing that week.
You would finish watching and you said, I think I got an
We were
episode.
doing Malignant. No, we were about to shoot Malignant. And I was like, guys, we should watch this movie next.
Yeah, I think I know what we
it's
should
pretty
watch
crazy.
next.
And then I told you it's the same director from Terrified. And you're like,
and I was
well,
sold immediately.
I was like, might as well just do Terrified and this one together, you know?
Yes.
Because we were like, oh, it doesn't matter what order. And you were like, oh, no, this one's like a next level to Terrifier. So
It-
was
it-
Terrifier
it-
first?
It's the successor, so he was hyping it up like it was going to be like be more gruesome than the first. And I would argue maybe it's more gruesome. It is probably more.
It's 100% more gruesome.
It is more
It's
gruesome being
definitely-
the blood and the guts and
yeah,
stuff.
it's gorier.
Gorier, yeah, but
It's definitely more gruesome.
yeah, okay. So you'll go ahead and talk. I don't want to talk too much. And let us get over the review portion so we can talk about our opinions.
Sure. Let's talk about some
Story beats or what?
story beats. From the
Go
movie.
for it.
So movie starts off. You meet these two brothers who are living in a farm, Jaime and Pedro.
Yes.
They hear a gunshot in the woods, and they're like, "What is it?" It's like, well, "I'm not sure. It might be our neighbor. Should we go check it out?" Let's just wait until the morning. So they wait until the morning. They go check it out. What they find is a body,
They
a
find
half.
a dead body.
They find a dead body.
Half of a dead
Half,
body.
just the half.
Half of a
the
dead
lower
body.
half.
And they're like, "Do you think it might be the Reese? You know, like the neighbor?" And they're like, "I don't know." So eventually they go to one of the neighbors, right?
Well, they find,
no, they go to
find
the
a bunch of
police.
stuff.
Wait,
They
sorry.
find a bunch of stuff with the body, and they're like, "Oh, looks like they were gonna go to our neighbors. Let's go see if they know anything about this."
Oh, because they did find the note. They
Mhm.
found the note saying they're gonna go.
I should ask you, are you going into spoilers? So
We're going straight into spoilers.
All right, so suggesting, recommending, should we say that to them or?
I would suggest. I would. No. What do you mean? I would recommend.
Well, yeah, because if they want to watch the video,
First
the
things
movie.
first.
I would
ratings,
suggest
go ratings.
ratings
Out
right
of
off
this
the
movie,
bat.
1 out of 10.
You know what? First time watching it, I really liked it. Second time watching it, I was like, I don't really like this. But looking back on it, dude, I'm gonna give it a solid 7.5.
7.5.
Solid 7.5. Yep.
All right, cousin.
I've been teetering between a 5 and a 6.
Oh my god.
I'm on the same boat. honestly.
Yeah, because I have appreciation for it because it's horror. The uniqueness and the inspiration and the interpretation you could take from it is incredibly badass, and I love horror for that aspect of it. But then I was just watching, I was like, oh yeah, like that. I saw that coming.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't. There was nothing where I was
Nothing groundbreaking.
nothing unexpected, and it was like, I've already said this in the past, where if you're gonna do cliches, or if you're gonna have things be projected, so obviously you have to enjoy the ride, and a lot of it was just like the main character. Well, again, we'll go into spoilers in a minute, but like he made some questionable ass decisions where I was like,
Questionable. Just stupid.
Yeah.
that's
Not
what I'm
even-
saying.
Yeah.
Not even questionable.
I was trying to be
just straight up
generous.
Stupid.
And I was like, I watched a bunch of other people react to it, and I was like, All right. Like, okay. So, yeah, I'm just going to say 5.5. That's just right in the middle.
Come on, bro. We're not,
Not that it's not that I didn't love it or like it. It's just like I liked it, didn't love it. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And then I like. Again, I'll talk more about it in a minute. Go for it.
I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. I was really hyped going into the movie because you were like, oh yeah, it's like a stage above. Like once it starts off, like you're gonna know when it kicks off.
And I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
No,
'Cause,
yeah.
yeah.
And
You
starts
overhyped
off-
it.
Yeah.
I definitely overhyped it because the second time
'Cause-
watching it with you guys, I was like, wow, I'm a little disappointed second time around.
Yeah,
I got-
terrified. I was like, I gotta borrow one of my baby's diapers like halfway through this movie. And this one, I'm starting like, all right, like here we go. It's starting off. What's gonna happen? Okay,
but
all
what-
right. It's just kind of dragging on. I was like, okay, like it's really for me. It's an overcomplicated zombie movie.
More than that, it's much
Yeah.
deeper than that.
That's
But
how-
it's
that's how I'm gonna-
that's the easiest way to like synopsize it. Like
Yeah.
it's like concept wise.
It's a worse version than the sadness, in my opinion. It's
I haven't seen the sadness though, but
Hopefully we don't see it.
funny enough though, even though I don't rate it the highest because it's my own personal preference, I
Yeah.
still recommend this movie for someone who wants to watch like a more serious tone horror film.
Yeah.
Like I would say this is right below. Because of the gore, it's not for everybody. Like it's gonna be too much. Specific scenes are gonna be way too much for some people.
Yeah.
So let's say it's like right on the same tier as Terrified, where it's like above the average horror watcher. Like if you're gonna watch this, expect like
yeah, remember how
that's
you're like watching Terrified and they're like, or I thought you said Terrifier.
I said Terrifier, but no,
Uh-huh.
no, I did, but like the gore level it reminds me of Terrified,
Yeah.
but not so
it lingers
gratuitous.
less.
Yeah, it lingers
Yeah.
less, but then you're right. I misspoke. In Terrified, I find it to that same level where it's like, it's yeah, you get what I'm saying.
Well,
you guys
Terrifier,
get it.
yeah.
the one we talked about last week, or Terrifier,
I'm talking about both.
the clown.
I'm talking about both of them. That's why we're
Now
getting
it's
mixed
extra
up.
confusing.
No, yeah, I'm telling you that
I think I know what it means.
like the gore is on par with like some of those scenes.
Yeah.
But then I find the like genre of horror that like categorize it same as Terrified. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Terrified is like above like entry level. Like you don't show
Yeah.
someone terrified and like
Li-
go shit themselves.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the
Yeah, go
plot.
for it. So now spoilers going forward.
So they find a note saying like they were gonna go to Uriel's house, and they also find these like devices on the floor as well, right? They go to Uriel's house. That's when they find a mother, a son, and Uriel, which apparently is just this fat blob who's just like infected with something.
He's
you
referred
know?
to as a rotten.
Yeah, he's referred to as a rotten. He's just literally just rotten in bed. You know, like he looks disgusting. What do you guys think on his makeup?
Fantastic.
Amazing.
Best
Yeah.
part of the movie.
Yeah.
No?
Well,
Yeah,
pra-
right. It was very cool.
Yeah. The
It's-
practical, like the makeup work for the rotten
mhm.
was, I think, the part of the movie I enjoyed the most.
I
It's
mean,
the-
it
it's the
made you
most, like-
it made you feel disgusting.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. Like you could see the stains in his underwear, like the ooze coming from his mouth,
Like,
his eyes swollen. Like
the cleaner that was killed early on, the body that they found, that was like an appetizer to the gore. And then when you see
Sure.
Israel, right, it's kind of like, oh, this is like if you're squeamish now,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
you're not gonna don't continue. You know
Yeah,
what I
it's
mean?
like here's half a body. Is like, oh, that's kind of
That's pretty
nothing I haven't
rancid.
seen before, but
And,
it's
yeah.
it's pretty wild. And you
And-
see him, you're like, oh, that looks disgusting, and then he starts leaking.
Like a little pus.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
ugh.
And here's what interesting.
Much like the movie Feast, don't eat before you watch this movie.
What's interesting is that right off the
love
bat,
that.
these brothers they look at him, they're like, he's possessed. They don't think nothing else.
Oh
of
yeah,
it.
that was actually one of my favorite shots. It was literally the zoom in on Pedro's reaction to just seeing him rotten.
Yeah.
The breaking in his eyes. It's like, oh, that's why when
Like they knew right off the bat, they didn't even question
he's
it.
just
They're like,
heartbroken,
yeah.
immediately seeing this man just suffering. It was like,
yeah, and they just said like they didn't even say, "Oh, he might be sick." Like, no, he's possessed.
Yeah,
you know?
and then the mom was like, "Oh, like I thought I couldn't help him by praying," and he was like, "No, like all the churches are dead. Praying's
Yeah.
not gonna do anything." And I was like, "Oh, this is interesting. Like there's a
They're-
world
yeah,
built
they're
around like
building
whatever's
lore
happening."
around this. Yeah,
Um,
and they start saying how like they were gonna hire this guy to come
yeah,
into the
they're
house
like,
to,
"Hey, this
to,
guy was going to your house. What is
to
he doing
cure
there?"
him. Yeah,
And she was like, "Oh, we called him over. I wanted him to kill my son."
yeah.
Yeah,
And but she twists those words around because she says kill and then she says cure and then she says kill again. And then I think after a while she says freed too. Like she like puts all these words together. So you're like, what's going on? Are they gonna cure him? They're gonna kill him? You know, like.
Yeah.
So then after that, they're like, well, we got to do something about him. So they go to the police. The police, they're like, we don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
We have people that deal with that, and we called somebody to come deal with that. You know, which is very interesting too.
No, 'cause I think they were like that should have already been dealt with because we called a year ago.
The family told the police a year ago, and
Yeah.
they did nothing about it.
Mhm.
And then they just let him rot while he was rotten. Like, it's
Yeah.
cruel, and it's
I
like
know.
in that moment, it's like can't help but draw like connections to society, like how the lower class would be like
That's true,
considered.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Which
then
I
go
mean,
for it.
Can you
it
imagine
just
how
goes to show
bad
you.
that room smelled?
Oh.
Yeah. No, the whole house probably.
The whole house. But I was thinking like they didn't get much of a reaction when they walked in.
They got a reaction
They
the moment
saw
they
him.
stepped
They saw
in.
him, and
Yeah.
they're like, you know. But I was thinking like you could probably smell that from like a mile away.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, big time, dude. And you could tell because it's like the police, they you can tell that they didn't even want to deal with it.
They didn't care
Yeah, they didn't
at all.
care.
He's like, I'm gonna tell the mayor. He's like, he ain't gonna do shit,
Yeah,
dude.
they're gonna do shit.
Yeah.
Like,
He's like, go ahead and call him. I got him on speed dial. Like you,
Yeah.
like
That's
I'll
literally
call
what
him.
it was
You
like.
talk to him.
and then go for it. Yeah, go.
No, and then after that, they went to go talk to their neighbor, Ruiz. You know who they were mentioning in the beginning. They're like, you gotta go check this shit out. You know, like this guy, he's a Ryan. He's a Ryan, and
Yeah, he was like kind of being like a weird conspiracy theorist about it. He's like, oh, I think the mayor, like the
Mhm.
government, planted him there to make us all move so they can have our land.
yeah,
And then he like kind of snapped and he's like, I'm gonna go kill myself. I'm gonna kill him.
yeah. He was having dinner with his wife. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna go kill him. And
You
his
ever,
wi-
you ever have that thing like that thought where you're like, it's just pissing you off? You're like, I'm gonna try not to think about it, and you're just sitting down having dinner. You're like, all right, I'm gonna go
The
deal
hell
with
with
this
it,
right
I'm
now.
gonna do it.
I'm just gonna deal with this
Every day, dude.
every day.
I'm
So
like,
he
you know what
goes-
I'm gonna go do? I'm gonna go take out the trash,
Yeah.
and then get everything out the trash.
So he goes to the house with the shotgun. He's about to kill him. The Odio's mom is like, don't kill him. You can't kill him with the shotgun. Not like that, because he's gonna infect you. And so you're sort of getting these like rules.
Yeah, these little hints of like, oh, like it's weird because everyone seems to know about it,
right.
but then nobody
No.
has the full picture.
Nobody has a full picture.
Eh,
Nobody seems to follow the rules they know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Somehow-
they know the rules.
it
They
seems
know
like the two
rules.
brothers don't know anything
All right.
about the rules,
But they know these things happen.
but they know they happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
Not just that, but they're older. So it's like, how do they not like? 'Cause they're talking about how nursery, there was a nursery rhyme, like kind of like Ring Around the Rosie,
Right,
but like
yeah.
their version of the events made into a song, and somehow the guys don't know anything about it.
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, there was a lot of stuff where I had to suspend my
belief.
belief way too much. Where I was like, how they have no idea that this did like what? like
we
they
know-
knew what
we
he
know-
was immediately on seeing him. They're
We
like,
know demons or whatever exist in this world.
And we
and
know
they
that
don't know
it's-
anything else about them.
And we
And then
don't-
the mom's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I know about the demons, and I know you're not supposed to shoot them with a gun." And the other guy's like, "Oh, I know you can't have them around your livestock, and I know that you can't like be around them for too long."
yeah.
It's like everyone knows a little bit about it, and I think in the
Right.
movie they say the last time something like this happened was like 12 years
12
ago.
years ago. yeah.
Okay, I thought it was a little bit. I thought it was like 23, but
Right,
No,
but
12.
12, and that's not a long time
to forget like
to
all
forget every rule, especially if it's like, "Hey, this could end the world." It's like, "Oh, what was it again?" Like, "Oh, I'm sure it's nothing."
Yeah,
important."
exactly.
But I guess
yeah.
it could be a commentary on like mankind's ability just to move on from things.
Ooh.
That's the only reason why I heard other interpretations of it. And I was
Okay.
like, they were like, some people were drawing comparisons to COVID. It was like, oh, like you see how they didn't isolate themselves. He went to go see his family and try to take them away, and in doing that, he got
Screwed-
them
yeah.
sick. Yeah, he got them sick and caused the events of the movie.
Yeah, he tried
It's-
to like, yeah.
But then, we're still going over the story, but like I can't help but mention it because we're here.
No, I mean, let's move on
Uh,
to like one of the most shocking scenes of the movie where they convince Reese not to kill him. He just goes home, sleeps it off, and then like his wife yells at him in the morning. He's like, "Hey, the goat's possessed." She just-
No,
No,
no.
that's-
Before that, so he was like, "All right, I'm not gonna kill him." He's like,
Oh,
I
no,
don't want this
yeah.
guy
Yeah,
around."
there's really important
It's
scene.
really
I was
important.
like-
Yeah, you're right.
He's like, I don't want this
forgot
guy
about that.
around. He's like, I got an idea. So he gets the two brothers. He gets
Yeah.
Pedro and Jimmy.
Which is one of the coolest
And he's
scenes
like,
of the movie.
hey, look, I got my brand new Dodge Ram
Toyota
pickup truck.
Tundra.
Yeah, my Toyota-
Sponsored.
It looked like a car commercial.
It really did.
Yeah, it looked like a car commercial. But he was like, I got my brand new lifted Dodge pickup truck. He's like,
Chevrolet
what? I think we should
Silverado.
just pick him up and move him out of town.
It's just dump them somewhere.
Yeah, and then he's like, then it's not a problem. And they were kind of like, I don't see an issue with that.
Yeah.
So they pick him up. They pick him up in a sheet. He's leaking, It's super
Yeah,
gross.
it's
It's like
disgusting.
he's been bed rot. What is it?
Whatever.
Bedridden. Well, you worked
Bedridden,
at
yeah.
you worked at where you worked at. But they lift him up, they put him in the truck, and they start driving. And they're like, how far do you think we should go? It's like far. It's like, how far? It's like
Real far.
real far. And then they almost hit a kid with their car, as you do.
They swerve.
And they swerve out of the way, and they're like, this stupid kid, he's probably on his way to school. Like, we got to keep driving to drop off this body. And they finally get to the spot where they want to drop him off to open the trunk. He's not there. And you know what they do? You know what they say? They say, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's far enough.
They're like, not our problem. Close
Yeah.
the trunk. And they're like, let's go
Yeah.
home now, guys.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they do. They go home. But the main character, Pedro, is like, hey, I feel like we shouldn't have done that. Like, I feel like that's going to backfire on us. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go into town tomorrow, and I'm going to take my family, and we're just going to dip. Like, we're just going to leave. So they go back to their house, and then the little
Now,
boy.
hold on. Now you're forgetting about the scene that I was mentioning with Reese.
Yeah, so that was before that.
Right. So
So go ahead and explain that part, because I have questions about it.
Sure. Yeah.
There's a lot of scenes where you just have questions, like, because they don't give you enough information, which is fine, but it's also like,
Yeah.
Like, don't set up a bunch of rules, not follow them, and then don't explain why you didn't follow them.
Right, and then there's there's a scene in that there's a certain thing that happened in that scene that I also have a question on. So Ruiz has a wife, she's pregnant. She yells at him in the morning. She's like, "Hey,
come out here, the goats."
The goats, yeah.
And then she's pointing out one goat, you can't see it, and then he shoots his gun. He shoots his shotgun, right?
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's a shotgun.
Yeah.
And it disperses the goats.
goats.
And there's only one goat, and it's a black goat. And it's like, all right.
Yeah, it's like that one's infected. The demon's inside that.
I immediately
goat.
thought of the witch.
Yeah, me too. And then the goat.
And the
the
goat.
goat does a badass thing.
Was there anything wrong with the goat?
There's
Besides the fact that they said
it
it was wrong?
was just a black goat. Just the only black goat I saw.
It's a racist goat.
No,
like, okay.
I don't know. Apparently,
I was staring at her.
the wife said, "Look at its eyes."
Philip. That was the
But
name
there
of
was
the goat.
nothing
Yeah,
different on the
Black
eyes.
Philip.
There was nothing different on the eyes because the woman, she's like, look at the eyes, and like the goat just kind of like got closer and like put his
Yeah.
head on the trigger.
He said, "Square up, bitch."
Yeah.
That was the funniest.
He points a gun at the goat. The goat
the
puts his
yeah.
forehead to the gun.
And
He's
says,
like, "You
"Do
won't."
it.
Yeah.
The wife was like, don't kill him with the gun because it's gonna
Suicidal
infect
lemurs out
you.
here, man.
It's gonna infect you. Don't do it. You know. She's like, kill him with this axe instead.
Yeah.
But he doesn't listen. Shoots him with the gun. The goat's head explodes. And right there, you see the wife. She just swings the axe into Reese's head.
Easily my favorite scene in the movie. I got so excited in the scene.
I thought it was gonna go uphill from there.
I stood
Which
up.
was like a crazy scene.
Yeah.
It was amazing. But
was
I
crazy,
stood
yeah.
up and I was like, oh, okay, now we're gonna have some fun. And then I was like, ah.
Yeah.
So she kills her husband. She kills Ruiz, and then she turns the
Literally
axe to
did.
herself, and she
Yeah.
does a 3-tap.
Money shot of the movie right
Double
there.
kill.
Poster.
Which we
Triple
found out
kill.
that was that scene. We just saw the poster. Like, oh, that's a poster. for the
Which
movie.
here's the question.
Now, what exactly happened in this moment?
So obviously, him shooting the goat, he would get possessed. So she killed him. So she killed him with the axe, not the gun, because you know the rule: if you shoot him with the gun, you get possessed.
Mm-hmm.
But then she kills herself. Was she possessed?
Mind you, later in the film, what's Hyman, right? His brother.
His brother.
Yeah,
Jaime.
he straight up runs someone over and kills him with it, and he doesn't get possessed.
Because it wasn't with the gun.
So killing with the axe shouldn't really cause any issue. So
No.
that's
Okay,
why my
so-
understanding of that scene was that she was sparing the souls of her family or her unborn child,
Right.
because she said, "Don't do it. You're gonna condemn us all.
You're right.
Please don't do it." And then he's like, "Nah, because he's all machismo. He's like, I'm gonna go fuck."
Yeah.
And blows the goats, and then she stabs him. And I'm like, damn, like fucking badass mom. And she takes it to herself, and I interpret that as she's just trying to save their souls from being condemned. But then I heard their reactions were like, no, she was possessed.
I
I
thought
was like,
because
what?
I thought
they
she
were
was
in the
possessed,
vicinity
yeah.
of the goat, the possessed
Oh,
goat being killed.
Don't be around animals. That's one of the rules.
That's one of the rules. I don't say there's too many rules, but I thought when he killed the goat, they were both possessed. So she killed him immediately just because she was possessed. She was doing evil or whatever, and then she killed herself.
Okay. makes
Or
sense.
you can take it. You can interpret it like she killed him because he was going to be possessed, and in her grief, killed herself for just killing her husband.
Okay, I can understand that one more. The only reason why the previous one doesn't make sense is because if they're both infected, they would have no reason to kill each other.
Exactly.
Right.
So if they were both infected in that moment by shooting the goat, they would both be demons, and they both wouldn't need to kill anyone. They were just like, oh, let's go fuck other people up.
But then
Right.
I don't really know what the possessed people do.
Yeah, because they don't show us.
Yeah.
There's a little girl later on that's like, you're
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
die.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then it happens, and she's evil.
Yeah.
So that
He doesn't
happens.
exist.
That happens, and then Pedro and Jaime, or Pedro, he's like, "You're gonna go with mom. I'm gonna go get my kids, and we're gonna flee this town."
Yeah.
You know. So he goes to the kids, pick up his kids, and then he goes.
Which
to
is
the-
super awkward because it's not just picking up his kids.
Yeah.
He's going to his ex-wife and her husband's
husband's
house,
house.
and he goes in, strips naked, and he's like, "Give me clothes." Or
Because
you're
one of the
leaving."
rules was like, don't.
But we'll get to the rules.
Yeah,
There's so much stupid stuff
yeah.
in this moment because it's like,
So, yeah.
why wouldn't you have changed before he left
So
the
many
house?
stupid stuff, but so many great stuff too.
No, but it's like
No,
so
it was more stupid than great.
his decision making didn't make any damn sense
Yeah.
for most of the movie. He's
He
like,
goes
oh,
there, strips naked,
In
give
the
me clothes,
house.
we gotta go. They're
and
like,
he
"Hey,
knows
what
his
are you
clothes
doing?"
can be infectious,
Mhm. So
and there's
he's-
children and
yeah.
a dog in the house.
So
What do
he
you think's gonna
strips
happen?
in front of
Like-
everybody,
Mhm.
like just throws the clothes on the floor. Does he even burn it? Does he burn it?
He burns it
does.
outside
Oh
my
after.
God.
After he leaves it on the floor.
Is
But
it?
he's, the biggest problem I have with the scene is he doesn't explain anything.
No.
He's
No.
like, give me clothes. We gotta go. They're like, hey, what are you doing here? You guys are divorced.
Don't ask any
Another-
questions.
Scaring the
We
kids.
gotta
He's
go.
like, no, we gotta go. Bring me
Yeah.
clothes. We gotta go.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, like, you get out of our house, like, leave. And he's not
Yeah.
saying, hey, there was a possessed guy. Hey, my clothes are infected. That's
No,
why I
he
need new clothes.
he does say it, but she doesn't believe him. She says that there was a rotten, and she's like, "You're fucking nuts! You're getting naked in my house. I don't
Yeah.
trust you."
Yeah.
And then they hint at like, because they say that she has a restraining order on him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there was a reason why they got a restraining order because they don't just give those out.
Yeah.
So there's
I thought
a
they
reason
gave
why
him
she
out.
doesn't trust him, and there's like, but he doesn't explain anything beyond that point.
Yeah.
Whenever once because the dog is gonna get possessed, it smells the clothes. He's like, "Don't shoot the dog," and then he just everyone knows this thing exists. It's this fucking disease or whatever it
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
and he's not like, "Hey, a rotten infected the dog. Don't shoot the dog." He's not like, "Don't shoot the dog. Don't shoot the dog. Don't shoot the dog," and then someone shoots the fucking dog, and
know.
you're surprised that shit goes bad. Like it was stupid to me. I was like, "Come
Yeah.
on."
Well, let's talk about.
It's just basic communication. Like,
Let's talk about one of the shocking scenes of the movie, at least. You know.
I don't know if you guys watched the movie. Tell me if you saw this coming because I saw it projected.
Oh,
from
of
a
course,
mile away.
everybody saw it coming.
No,
but
no,
it wasn't
I-
that scene that shocked people. It was the one that came after, which was under the table. That's the scene that shocked me.
No, so apparently, because some of the videos you watch, because we want to get other people's opinions on it, they were like, "Oh, I was expecting the dog to go and."
How do you
and
not?
That's
How do
what
you
I'm
not?
saying.
Yeah, of course you expected that. Like
We were observant.
the
we-
dog
we saw
goes,
it, we
yeah,
know
the
what's
dog
gonna
goes. He
happen.
Sniffing
sniffs the
clothes.
clothes, and then there's a shot where like the dog is just like zooms on the dog's face, and it's like, okay, the dog's possessed.
Yes, the dog is now
The dog's
possessed.
possessed. And then the little girl's right next to the dog, and she looks at the dog. The dog's a little girl, and you're like, okay, we know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know exactly what's gonna
And
happen.
the thing is that the son and the little girl are petting the dog. So at that moment, I was like, "Oh,
Yeah, because they're
are
kind of going
they?"
back and forth. Like the boys next to him petting the dog. He leaves. He's like, "Oh, get your clothes." Like, all right, he leaves.
It's a moment of
The little girl goes-
anxiety, yes.
Yeah.
But it's also
Yeah.
like because I don't understand the rules or how this works. Is because they pet the dog now gonna enable them to be infected?
Are they possessed?
Oh,
Or,
that's
like, are they
exactly.
in danger?
I found myself thinking that in those moments, as
Really?
opposed to having the anxiety of,
Mhm.
"Oh, this might happen." So yeah, go for it. All right,
Okay.
we're gonna take a little 10.
Let's take a little 10, and then we'll come back.
And
We'll
gotta
be
get
right
to
back.
Probably the only good scene of the movie, in my opinion.
And yeah, we'll go speed through it.
All right,
Yeah.
here we go.
We'll be back. Bye. All right, we're back. We're back. So the dog scene, Raymond. The dog attacks.
Why are you looking at me when?
Because you got an opinion of it at the time.
No,
so.
I know. I was
I
saying,
know,
like,
I know, it's
are-
kinda messed
are
up
you
how
talking
I
about
look.
my real life.
I know,
my
yeah.
real life
It's
impact?
kinda
Oh, I didn't even do that. That's
It's
what
kind
you're
of
getting at.
messed
I was like, what are you
up.
talking about?
Honestly, it was just a complete coincidence why I looked at you, but then I realized I was like, oh,
Oh,
man,
shit.
I should have just looked at the door. Yeah. So the dog attacks the little girl.
Yeah, I would
Um,
say as predictable as it was, that was the most suspenseful scene of the movie
Sure.
because you know something's gonna happen with the dog. He's got his like full face into the guy's like
Yeah.
clothes, which he's always like, I gotta get these clothes, burn them because I was near the possessed one.
Right.
And the dog just sits there, and all the kids are like around him,
Mhm.
and all the grown-ups are fighting.
All right, they're arguing with each other like,
They're
get out of my
arguing with each
house,
other,
we gotta
like, Get out of
leave.
your house.
It's
I'm
restraining
naked,
order.
I need clothes.
Yeah.
He's over there calling the cops because like there's a naked ex-husband in his house.
Mhm. So dog attacks little girl, and then the camera just kind of like, while all this is happening right there in the background, camera just focuses on the adults fighting. Camera looks into the staircase. You see a little boy looking at his stepsister, by the way, getting mauled by the dog. Little boy is terrified. He comes downstairs,
Super
looks.
sad.
Yeah.
I know, and he
It's
looks
because
under the table.
He doesn't understand
He's
the full
watching.
implications of it.
Yeah.
Because when
Right.
he goes to his parents, he goes, "Hey, the dog. I forget the dog's name.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter."
I don't remember.
He's like, "The dog's bit my sister."
Yeah,
Yeah.
he hurt her. That's
Yeah.
what he says. It's like he's hurting her. Like
But,
it
be-
is.
but before that, he looks under the table, and that's when you get the shot of the dog just kind of like nibbling on, like
No, thrashing.
like,
thrashing the body of the little
Yeah,
girl.
the
And
ruthless.
that's brutal.
Yeah.
That's
No,
I don't
yeah, it
care if
was-
it was a dummy. That was
the bite
brutal.
was expected. The
Yeah.
thrashing was like, oh damn, like
Yeah.
that was not expected.
Like,
yeah. Especially if you're like
assault to the wound.
And that's
Yeah.
what the little boy sees.
Yeah.
So you could just imagine that if we found that hard to see, imagine what the little boy. You know what I mean?
yeah, that plus I can imagine normal audiences that love dogs and
Exactly,
stuff like
yeah.
that. They're like, oh my god.
So then the little boy's like, the dog. He's biting. Vic, was it Vicky? I think it was Vicky.
I don't
I
remember.
think it was
Sabrina.
Vicky.
Sabrina,
No,
yeah.
I don't
No,
think
Sabrina's
so.
the wife.
No, that's the wife.
No, yeah, I think it was Vicky. I'm pretty sure it was Vicky.
All right, well,
She
continue.
doesn't
It's
matter.
the sister.
And yeah.
She's not
Anyway.
even credited.
Anyway, he's like, "Mom, Dad, the dog got Vicky," and they look and then this is the part that he hated
Yeah.
the most.
The dog runs out with her face in his mouth, and he runs, and it's so clearly a doll.
Because it's
Because
just
you just see the
raggedy.
limbs like
Yeah, it's just
like
raggedy.
that while he runs out the,
Well, it's
out
a-
the door.
it's-
I didn't notice
it's
it.
Lifeless.
I'll be
It's
honest.
lifeless, so it's obviously gonna be
It's
raggedy.
lifeless and filled with cotton. Like it has no weight to it.
Dog runs out of the house. The stepdad was like, "Oh my God, my little girl! I have to go kill this dog."
Yeah.
And then
Dad's name
Pedro was like, "Don't kill the dog." It's like
He
this
said,
whole
"Don't shoot the
mess,
dog.
yeah.
Don't use the gun.
Oh
don't shoot
my
the dog."
God, yeah.
Doesn't explain it.
He says,
He
"Don't
just
shoot
says,
the
"Don't
dog.
shoot the
Don't shoot the
dog."
dog."
Oh,
He's
he-
like, "What are you talking about? I gotta go get my little girl." Gets his gun,
He's like, help
leaves,
me.
and he's like, "Fuck this! I'm just gonna go get my son's."
The only thing I respect Pedro for was that it's like everything's hitting the fan. He's like, "All right, I came here for one thing. I'm just
my
gonna
family.
go.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just gonna do what I need to get done and just leave."
Quick,
Yeah.
quick
That was
note.
the only time I appreciated him.
It was that mentality. Ruiz only cared about his land. Pedro only cares about his family, and everyone kind of like when the outbreak is starting to happen,
Mhm.
everyone only cares about themselves. And I was
Yeah.
like, that was the only like
The
mirror.
police only cared about themselves.
They didn't give a shit. Like,
They didn't give a
they're
shit.
just- yeah. So it's like that was
Yeah.
one of those things where I was like, okay, coordinate concept ideas. Again, I'll explain
Everybody
later.
has
But
like a selfish.
we all lived through that during
theme
COVID.
to it.
We all ran out of toilet papers, so
Yeah.
we all remember.
Everybody, stole toilet paper from the old lady at Target.
Shout
while
out
you were-
Chipotle. I ransacked their toilet paper closet before I left.
There you go. See,
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Um,
You know what's funny? There was a quick tangent. There was a math thing where someone's like, all the people were buying a bunch of toilet paper from like Sam's Club and stuff, and they were like, yeah, if they used one roll, like a week, they would have toilet paper for like the next like 2 generations of their family. Because like at no point would they need that much toilet paper, but they just bought it because they were panicking and they just wanted it.
that's
ridiculous.
I felt like that was some inspiration, but again, I'll talk about more of the reason what the director said later on. But keep going.
Yeah. So coincidentally, like he's just like, you know what? Like my brother has my mom. I got my kids. I'm sure they'll be fine. They're not. They get hit by a car. They're dead. So they leave, and his
Just
brother.
skimming it.
Yeah.
just keep going.
Jimmy's like, hey, I know someone who might be able to help. She can let us stay somewhere, and like we need money. She can let us borrow money, but we can't go yet because the banks are closed on the weekend. So we just
Yeah, I
we
know.
gotta go to her, and she's dealt with something like this before.
so she can give us some
Insight.
insight on this,
Mhm.
and she can give us money. Do you guys want to talk about the rules at all, or no?
Yeah, I have the rules right here, and I hate all of them. So while they're driving to this lady's house,
Mhm.
Oh,
the little
Bonita's
boy,
like-
the little boy's like, "Hey, grandma, like, what's with the possessed?" And she's like, "Oh, it's just it's like a story."
I know,
like,
like,
there's-
it's like,
no,
it's
she
like
kno-
it's like if it happens every Monday or something.
She's like, "It was a story." He's like, there. He's like, there used to be like a nursery rhyme with it. He's like, but there's 7 rules, and I have the 7 rules right here. According to Mima,
Mhm.
she says, don't use electric lights.
Which we saw when Ruiz dies. That Jaime and Pedro, when they're eating dinner, like you see the shadows go above the lights.
Yeah.
Like whatever electrical lights is around, you see the shadows kind of like
They
move
move on
up.
their
I'm guessing they're kind of like beacons. Like as long as you have an electrical light on, they can find you.
which
That's
is kind of
It's
dumb,
confusing.
but
It's weird.
There's
sure.
only one
Yeah, I don't
incident
like
where
it.
that directly could like that makes the only way that Sabrina would have found him later in the film Is
Right.
it because of that stupid little electronic light?
Yeah.
that the grandma had.
But it's like,
the
how
night
else would she
light.
have found them
Yeah.
otherwise? That's the only reason why I'm saying it. That I think that's the
Because
reason.
electricity's all around, you know,
Yeah.
like.
Well, that house specifically didn't have any. So the only one that was a little toy that the little grandma,
the grandma had, I guess.
which she fucking knew the rules.
But
Why
also the
fuck would
cell
she
He
have to-
explained
phone.
the rules.
Also the cell phone
he
too.
threw the cell phone.
That's not fine. Yeah.
He
I guess.
shattered on the floor when she
So
called.
rule number 2: stay away from animals.
Which
Not just with possession. In my opinion, just don't go near animals.
So the goats and the dog still don't make any sense right
Don't-
there. Yeah, because they would have gotten possessed from that.
Rule
Okay.
number 3: do not touch anything that has been near the rotten.
So perfect. The clothes makes sense. But what about the kids? They
The
were near the
kids
clothes.
or
Jaime?
anything. The whole family
Yeah.
who was living with him for a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jaime, you know, like.
But like, is it so? Remember, there must be a difference between the possessed that are like running around and are rotten, because the rotten seems to be the one that gives birth to the like antichrist, basically, or like the demon that's
demon,
gonna
yeah.
be born.
So he's like the main boss and everything else like a minion.
He's like a trigger, because they say that the only way to
wouldn't-
stop this from spreading is to kill him.
Then wouldn't it make more sense that if they were near him, anything around him would have been possessed?
Which did happen to
But not his family.
his family did.
his
Kind of.
family.
Literally,
his
that's the reason why they stopped the. Well, we're in spoiler territory.
Yeah.
They stopped the
Yeah.
cleaners from coming. That's why I said we could just talk about them. Because,
Right.
But number 4 was do not harm them.
yeah,
Which that's kind of hard to do.
doesn't make sense because they're
Yeah.
trying to kill you, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it seems to be specified
Don't
without.
harm them or don't shoot
Don't
them.
harm
No,
them.
don't harm
So
them.
that's a whole different rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 4 is don't harm them.
What the
Number
fuck
5,
is it?
don't call evil by its name.
And then she starts
And then she
listing
starts.
off.
Yeah, she's like, let's see. She's like, the
It's-
devil.
she's like
Lucifer. I know.
Lucifer.
Like-
and,
I know,
and
she's
then-
like
and then-
calling every single.
Yeah.
and then
demon
the
from
brothers
hell.
are all like kind of freaking out in the front, like, hey, like you just said not to list them.
Yeah.
She's
How
like,
about?
no, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's
and then
fine.
she says, number 6, don't shoot them, which is almost the same rule as
Oh,
number
that
4.
I didn't even catch
Which-
that. So
yeah.
it is a separate rule.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
which
4
is
is don't
which is
harm 'em.
apparently the only rule that they're trying to follow. Just don't shoot them.
Don't
Every
shoot
other
'em.
rule, they're like, well, we don't even care about these rules.
And
All
then
right.
rule number 7, she's like, I don't remember rule number 7.
Oh, she was
Oh,
about to
that's
explain, but she just says,
right.
like doesn't say it, right?
Yeah,
And
no,
then-
she's like,
and
she's
then-
like,
yeah.
she's like, I don't remember what it was.
And then
'Cause I'm sure
the-
it's not important.
Later in the film,
the
the-
brother was like, rule number 7 should be don't forget the rules.
Yeah.
the teacher later on explains what the seventh rule is.
The 7th rule was something stupid. It was like, don't fear death.
Yeah, you're not allowed to fear death. So if you're afraid for the person to die, you're giving them power. The fear of death empowers them. That is the idea. Legit again, like they don't have super strength.
Yeah.
Like, like what is it empower? That
Like
they know
I mean,
more
the
about
little girl
you?
gets hit by a car and then she's like walks it off. But I think that's just how most kids work.
No, but like everyone who is possessed who gets like ran over, or crushed, or whatever,
Yeah.
literally just bounces back. So it's like, okay, like,
I mean, yeah, they do get possessed. So it's like the mom, like she comes back, right?
was Leo the stepfather possessed in that moment?
I think he was.
I considered him as
yeah,
he was.
He was
Because
possessed.
some people, some of the reviews we saw, they were like, oh, like he swerves out of the way to avoid hitting Pedro's car.
No,
He crashed
he-
into him.
No,
No,
I
no,
was
no.
like, no, I'm pretty
He
sure he was
straight up,
possessed.
he was
'Cause
aiming towards them.
I think he killed the dog, got possessed, and then he just aimed for him.
Of course, even the little girl says, "Dad's gonna kill you." Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
in a
he
second,
came.
yeah. So I don't know. And then who else is possessed later in the movie?
His other kid. Well, they explained that the kid, there's a demon inside of him.
Oh, yeah,
Who knows how it got inside of him?
Yeah.
Maybe it was
But-
a dog. Who knows?
But they said that there's a demon inside, and since he has either cerebral palsy or autism, you know, who knows with
I can't
the,
believe we haven't even mentioned
with
him
the
yet.
language,
You
with
just
the
now
language
mentioned him.
barrier. That's right. So Pedro has another kid. That he-
Jair.
who?
Jair.
Jair. Oh yeah, Jair. Who
Good job.
is mentally handicapped. I think he has cerebral palsy.
Mhm.
But in the movie, or at least in the subtitles we read, they were
has
like, oh, he has
autism.
autism.
But it looks a little bit more extreme than autism.
Yeah.
So they explained that he is also possessed, but since the demon's in his head, he can't really control his body. He's
Yeah.
almost like the demon's in limbo because he
The
doesn't know what
the
the hell
demon
is going
possessed
on.
him.
Trapped in the
Yeah,
body.
demon
Yeah.
possessed him, couldn't find the way to the control room, and he just got stuck in the hands.
Yeah, and you notice that his hands are all curled up and stuff. Anyway,
Yeah, I can't even think of a single time where he would have been possessed too. Now I'm like trying to think about a moment when he would have.
exactly,
He
right?
wasn't near the dog.
He wasn't near the dog. He was technically in the car when his mom got hit. But it's like, so
No,
what? That has
no,
nothing to do
it-
with
it
anything.
makes no
Yeah.
sense.
Well, who knows? Because you can't harm him, or you can't shoot him. So maybe.
Well, he
got
didn't
hit.
harm anybody. He didn't do anything.
During the night that they spent at was
His
it
mom's handprint.
Mirta's house, they are sleeping, and you see that the grandma, she has like a little electric nightlight,
Yeah.
and then right there we were all like, so is this gonna be a part of it? That's electricity, right?
Yeah, it was a doll that had a little
Yeah.
light up chest, and I was
And
like,
of
all right.
course, yeah, and of course, like the demon of the mom finds them and kidnaps the kid. The dad freaks out. He's like, "We gotta go." They just disappeared into the woods, and like, "We gotta go find them." He's like, "No, you can't go find them because you're afraid of what might happen to your kid. So you're like the worst person who
Yeah,
should go
yeah,
find
that's
them."
exactly what happens, guys.
So the brother was like, "I'm gonna go find them because like."
I guess he doesn't care about his nephew.
Yeah, I know. So
Yeah.
it's like, because I guess he's afraid of other things. It still didn't make any sense,
No.
right? So
The entire movie, I kept thinking of the Luigi brothers.
That-
Yeah,
I
exactly,
couldn't be
yeah.
the only
He
one.
was
Yeah.
taller with a hat. He had a mustache. The other guy was wearing red. I was like, this is
yeah.
That's a
This is the Mario Bros. Movie.
So
we
this is
needed.
what I kind of lost me. This is where it kind of lost me, and I'm pretty sure it lost both of you guys too. So Jaime, the brother, goes to find his nephew and his sister-in-law, I guess.
yeah.
While Pedro and Mirta, they go out into the town because they're like, "Oh, look at the town lights."
We gotta find the source of what they gotta kill
Yeah.
the
The
The weird thing
source.
is they were like, oh, the town went into protocol.
Right.
So they were
Yes,
like,
yeah.
oh, like they had something in case.
Yeah.
people
yeah.
start getting
There's an
possessed.
alarm system set
Yeah.
up for this
They're
exact
like, look,
scenario.
look at the town's lights. They're all off. The electricity shut off. Like they went into protocol, and it's like, holy shit! Like this is
What is this world
yeah.
that
What
we're
is
watching?
this world? Yeah.
Continue.
So Jaime goes, he finds well, here is another thing. As Jaime's driving, he's turning his lights on and off, as if it's gonna somewhat not attract the demons, right?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like he's like he got turned on. See, like, hey, make sure
I'm not gonna
I'm not
crash.
gonna hit anything, and turn him off because he's not supposed to have them on.
But,
yeah,
like-
but okay, so that's another thing of the rule. It's like, so how much can you follow those rules? You know what I mean? Because one of
Does
those
his
was like,
dash
don't
lights-
use
Well,
electric
no,
lights.
It would. His dash cams would. I mean, his dashboard would light up. So like,
Yeah.
no matter
Yeah.
what, he's screwed. like,
So this next scene was pretty brutal too. He finds the mom along with the corpse of the kid in the middle of the road.
she's picking at his brain.
She's just picking and eating his brains, and like Jaime just turns off his lights. He just stops, and he just kind of like just sees the mom just with the kid just moving forward,
Yeah. Having
and
a
he,
little snacky
yeah,
snacky.
and he's just there, just like in shock, and out of like anger, he just like steps on the pedal and just runs her over,
and breaks the fourth rule.
The,
breaks the fourth
And guess
rule.
what happens to him?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
when I watched
Not only that, my bad. Not only that, but like her head breaks through the window, and like
Yeah.
her brains are
And she's still
falling.
talking.
Yeah, and she's talking to him, so he has full contact with the demon, and nothing happens to him.
yeah, I know. When I saw that scene, I was like, was that worth the car? And then you were like, oh no, maybe a fit of rage. He just
Because I
ran.
thought the same thing. I
But
was
I-
like, okay, he's possessed now. Cause,
And then
you
at
know.
that moment, they imply that Sabrina, the mother, might have slept with Pedro's brother at some point. They're like,
Yeah.
Man, Jaime
but-
had he
got around.
He had some
Yeah.
game. Luigi got it.
And then so Pedro and Mirta reach the town.
And they, for some reason, go to the school immediately. I don't understand
Yeah.
why
They
they went
never
to the school.
mention it. They're
They
like,
just,
"Let's
they're
go to
just like,
school."
I know that he's like, I know where he might have fallen off of the car.
Oh yeah, because he was like, "Hey, we almost hit that kid. Maybe they picked him up and brought him."
So
to
I
the
guess
house
he just
thinking
went to the
was
nearest
sick.
place from there,
the
which
thing
was
is
the
that
school.
Mirta does say this part in the movie. She says, "I know where we should go, and we should go here because evil loves children and children love evil." And that's when
I don't
that's
remember that line.
that's
I
when
don't
they
remember that line at all.
I don't remember the children love evil part. I remember the part where they said that they're like the evil influences children. I remember
that's
that
why.
line.
So then Mirta says that, and then like that's what the best place to find evil should be like a school of children, which
Luckily, when they get there, it was just full of kids.
it's full of kids, but
Yeah.
they're all weirdly possessed. Like,
Yeah.
because it's like out of
He
all the possessed,
immediately said "Children of the Corn," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty much."
yeah, because
That's what the
it's
poster
like,
reminded me of too. When
Yeah,
before I saw
honestly,
it, I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, it's
dude.
Children of the Corn."
and and like honestly, like, and this is where it lost me. I was like, what's wrong with these kids? Like, obviously they're possessed, but they're not like crazy.
They're not possessed. They're influenced. They're like under a spell from the being wanting to protect itself. It's like a defense mechanism, at least from how I interpreted
It's
it.
kind of stupid.
It's
Yeah.
like
This whole movie was kind of
no, because how else would this thing like? It has to have some way of reviving itself or like becoming to its full potential.
Sure, yeah.
but it was also hiding.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Oh,
what was it gonna do?
actually, no.
Damn,
No,
that
no,
makes
no,
sense. They
hold on,
just
hold on.
fucking destroyed
Yeah.
the
It,
whole
ma-
fucking
it makes
argument.
sense. It makes sense that this thing controls kids, but doesn't like it just influences them, but doesn't quite.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Possess
That's what
them.
I'm saying. The difference between the
Right.
possessed and them. But what he just said, it's like he wants to die to be reborn. So why the
Why was he hiding?
Like,
Because
I guess the
put
trade-off would
himself-
be a cleaner could find him, but then it's like someone has to kill him at some
Yeah,
point.
yeah. Actually, you're right. Oh well.
Or why not have a fucking kid kill him? That's the first thing I thought of.
Think about it like this. I feel like this whole movie, it was just Pedro was supposed to be the one to kill him. So these whole events, all these events
Why, though?
happen because it was kind of like meant to be, sort of thing. Like this thing knew
I think
that.
he just knew that he was easy to manipulate.
Yeah, and he also
Like,
knew that he's
'cause,
like
my
this
God,
person.
He is making so many dumb mistakes. He's like, I
Yeah,
could
because
probably
you,
take this
you notice
guy.
at the end
He's
where
like,
like
this guy.
Yeah.
where well
It's like a Looney
let's
Tune
just
thing. He's like,
let's just skip to it.
right in season.
Mita brings this device out. She's like, you gotta kill him with this.
You got to specifically kill him with this.
Yeah.
Take out his nape.
Yeah.
Doesn't
He's a-
tell
he's a-
him
he's a
how.
No, she says to cut his nape. Like she says to fucking.
Remember we
Yeah,
made the
but
Attack on Titan joke?
yeah, but it was like this device. She was like building it, and she's like, you have to hit the nape.
And she's like, take him out so we can get the back of his neck, basically.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh god, these freaking bodies are heavy. I can't move them.
Yeah.
He's like, this is annoying. This is going to take too long.
And this little girl who already lied to him once is like, go get the axe,
He's
and
like,
then you
there's
can
an
get
axe
the.
in there. You can use it to
Yeah.
break him out.
And Mirta was like, don't listen to her.
She's like,
She's
don't listen
lying.
to her. And she's
She's trying to separate us.
And then he's like, you know what? I am gonna go get that axe because that dude's talking shit
Yeah.
to me.
He's like, I could
Yeah.
save.
That's
like,
literally what
an
happened.
extra hour if I go get that axe now.
Goes
So
to
just
the
out
room.
of pure laziness,
Yeah.
basically, he
Laziness
goes,
and rage.
yeah, he just leaves to go get an axe. He's like, oh, there's no axe here. He's like, all right, whatever. He goes back, and then all the kids are just killing the girl.
And then, as he's
Yeah.
like locked in there.
yeah.
And so Mirta dies, and then like out of rage, he just grabs the device that Mirta had and he spashes Uriel's head with it, which you thought it was funny looking because it looked
Yeah,
like
it looked like it was a practical effect.
It was
but,
definitely a
like,
practical
You know how they
effect.
have like the baby doll heads, and you could like push in their forehead.
It reminded me of yes, that's
It looked like that.
exactly what it was.
Yeah.
I won't even go into further. That's exactly what it was.
But yeah, so that happens.
Do you think there was a part of his brain where he was like, this has to kind of count because he's killing him with the device?
That's probably what he thought, but it's like he knew what he had to do. The dude was sitting up now. Like, just finish it right.
Yeah.
Like, stop
Yeah.
being fucking lazy, dude.
But at the same time, she didn't tell him. I guess she told him how to kill him.
He
but,
said he got
He
he with the
should've-
name, but like it wasn't assembled.
but
He
it was
coulda at
weird
least-
because
he
this
could at
thing
least
looked
try to
like
hit the back of the neck.
this thing looked like a telescope or something. You know what I mean?
Telescope.
Because it's like what is it? Like, is it a
I
gun?
ju-
Is
thought-
it
thought
a
it reminded me
bat?
of- it reminded me of a steak. I thought it was just gonna turn into a steak to just.
No, because it was
there was
like
a
it was
wheel.
like round. It had a wheel, and so it was weird. It was like a device that, and she was like, and she was setting it up too. Like she put a tripod
Yeah.
down, and it's like
And he's
I was like,
how long
what?
is it gonna take? She's like reading Lego instructions. Like I'm on step 14 of 25. Like
Yeah,
it,
and then the whole thing, she's like, we don't have much time. We got to do it
This
now.
is the same guy who's literally like, "Don't shoot the dog,"
Yeah.
and he's like, "Nah, this will work.
the one rule.
Let me not listen to the lady who actually knows what the fuck's going on and can help me through this whole process. Let me just not listen to her."
So
I'm just like, come on, like that's all right. That's the reason why I didn't enjoy a lot of like a good portion of the movie.
the demon gets born. Demon goes to Pedro, touches his forehead, leaves a mark on
Yeah.
his
So
face.
basically, the devil is reborn.
Yeah.
He takes the kids and he leaves.
Yeah.
And by the same idea, okay, we already know this outbreak has already happened a few times, or at least at some point. So
And
does
it
that
must
mean
happen
that?
more than once where they have a system set up, like a protocol? Set
No,
up?
yeah. So it must happen across multiple cities at some
So
point,
I
then,
think
right?
so
I
I
would
no so I
assume.
think
Because
this
then-
whole thing has happened, but not the birth part of it. So I think
But how would they know until something got born? You know,
that's
you
what
don't.
I'm saying.
You don't make
So,
a
'cause
protocol until shit hits the fan. We
I
already
know
know
that's
that
what
from
I'm
the
saying because
society.
it's happened before, and she mentioned she's like, this evil has been looking for me, and it found me in this town.
Oh, yeah, that was a
Meaning-
weird under like
Yeah,
tone thing. I don't even
meaning
care about that.
it's like this whole like pandemic thing was happening before, but they managed to get the main like Ryan out in time. They managed to just kill him.
But
in time.
imagine that concept. Imagine being like a whole city has been taken over by possessed people, and they have somehow figured out that this whole thing has started because of one rotten, and it didn't get born. Like
So
by
all-
its own world
Yeah.
building, it doesn't
and then
make
all
sense.
That,
like,
all that, right? They have protocols. Everybody knows about it. They've done
and
this
somehow
multiple
everyone
times.
And
fucking
somehow
forgot about it.
everybody just
Multiple
be like,
times,
yeah.
and the police are like, "Oh no, like we don't want to deal with that."
Like,
or
yeah,
like,
and
cool
even the family was
concept.
like, we don't believe you.
yeah,
Cool
You know?
concept, but if you think about it, it's like what? Like no part of it makes sense. So the only way it would make sense is if these Rottens fully got born to like little multiple antichrists, But then there's multiple fucking antichrists inside the world.
Yeah, of course.
So it's like,
Well, then again, you don't know what's going on outside of that town.
yeah,
either.
yeah.
So
That's the cool part about the movie, but it's also the fucking stupid part about it.
Sure, yeah, whatever.
It's one of those.
It's super weird.
It's the definition of like, oh, it's cool if you don't think about it.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Pedro goes home, finds his brother crying. You obviously find out it's like, oh, the grandma obviously didn't make it, you know?
She's just gone.
Yeah, she's gone. And then he's showering, and Jaime goes into the barn. He finds the other kid, Uriel's brother, in the barn. He tells him that
He's like, I forgot I told you could spend the night.
Yeah.
He's
and
like,
then-
shit, I forgot you were up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then he's all like, by the way, remember that body in the beginning?
I
It was
killed
me.
him, yeah.
I killed him. I
then
ate him, fed him to the pigs.
And then I ate my mom.
And then I ate my mom. That's why she went missing.
And then, guess where your mom is?
And that's when we find out that
Mom soup.
Pedro's son, the handicap one, he starts choking on it, pulls out hair, and then pulls out the necklace from the grandma, implying that the son ate the grandma. And here's the thing where it's like this evil thing controls kids. You know, these kids eat their parents, but not anybody else.
Yeah. Do you want to pause for a moment to finish off? Or
No, I think we can finish off right here, I think.
you think we can finish off right here?
Oh,
We
well.
barely talked about.
I get it. That's fine. That's fine. That's
All
fine.
right. We'll
All
be
right.
right back. Quick,
All right,
quick
one
hard
more
cut.
break.
Quick break, I guess.
Quick portion before we wrap up. The director was inspired by pesticides being used in the agriculture in Argentina.
Mhm.
Apparently, it caused like long-term damage to the.
Rural areas like farms and shit.
Do you know anything about that from your own family and culture?
Not really. I do know that there's a lot of farmlands over there,
Uh-huh.
and they use pesticides. The pesticides got in the water, and obviously the people drinking the water, they drink what's it called, tap water over there a lot.
Basically being poisoned.
Yeah, so
Damn,
so
that's
the
awful.
and most of the water lines over there, they're all connected throughout the town, and so obviously a lot of people get sick like that. You know?
So that was what inspired this, and so that helped me kind of narrow how the possession works, because if you think about it from that concept, that a poison to water, and everyone's kind of being like, you kill one and it just poisons everything, you know?
Sure,
That
yeah.
makes it more confusing for me.
It does, but don't
'Cause
think
what's with all
of
the
it.
extra rules.
Don't think about the literal sense, but think about it as how it's.
No, I know.
said.
I'm like how it spreads. How it's like just one thing will affect everything else,
Mhm.
which is like the rotten as compared to like everyone else who's possessed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we already bitched and moaned, but I want to hear what's the positives. I tried watching a bunch of different videos on this because I wanted to see what I was missing. That it was like, oh, okay, I'm
'Cause
just not.
everyone
I'm just not
seemed to
understanding
love
it.
this movie.
Yeah.
and I watched it and I didn't enjoy it.
My main thing was like, I watched it. I was like, all right, it was a cool movie, probably one of the better ones of 2023.
Yeah.
But I'm not like, oh my gosh, it's the best movie ever. I think Talk to Me was significantly better.
Yeah, of
Same-
course.
Same year.
But
also
Same
not
here,
from
yeah.
here.
yeah, but I don't know. It was like cool concepts, weird execution. I want to hear all the positive stuff. So if you guys like the movie, please comment down below. I would love to read those. But I want you to tell me some of the stuff that you heard and praised, because you're the one who recommended it. So
Sure.
what was the big moments? Why was this such like a great
Yeah,
watch? or
why
like-
do you think everyone is like
Loved it.
crazy about this movie?
And then we'll close on that, because that's what I'm most curious about. That's what I want to know.
Basically,
because I didn't find it.
the
Yeah,
story.
it wasn't it for
a
me.
lot of people aren't talking about the story. A lot of people are praising the practical effects and the cinematography of the movie. you
Okay.
know? And how
Cinematography was good. I'll give
Cinematography was
some of the
great.
shots are really awesome.
Like the car commercial.
Yeah, but yeah, no, they're really cool though.
Practical effects, though, they're pretty good. They're really good.
For the single shots where something's not
Single shot-
moving,
yeah.
because that
I
acts.
mean the rotten
The Ron effect was
really
amazing.
good. I can't think of it. Nothing else really pops into my head that I was like, oh, that was.
well, you
The,
didn't like the
good
dog.
practical.
well, the dog scene was all right. The axe when she axes her husband in the face, that one was good too.
That was one of the
But then she immediately acts herself and it looks a lot worse.
because that was like CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The mom eating the kid's brain,
yeah,
that was
like
practical.
a second, but
was a
that looked
second.
cool. But it was like, all right,
And I mean, there's certain gore scenes here and there that are just practical. The acting is pretty good too.
yeah,
The acting's pretty good. That's what people are praising it. Just pretty much like cinematography, practical effects, and obviously just like the shock factor of the movie too. It's kind of like how like how like Terrifier became popular. Like it's not a good movie,
No.
but like
it makes me think of.
people love it, and it's gotten a lot of critical reception for that. But it overall like it's just
I'm getting Bird Box vibes. How everyone loved Bird Box for like the shock factor of like people killing themselves. And You remember how hyped everyone got during that movie?
Yeah.
I was like, it's a good
remember
movie. It's
When
not
did Bird Box
the
come out?
2020.
Yeah, so we didn't have anything better to do.
No, but I remember
Yeah.
so many people were like, damn, like this movie. Remember people doing a Bird Box challenge and all this
Yeah.
stuff. But I'm just
They
like,
made a sequel to that.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Barcelona,
already,
right?
Barcelona. Yeah.
it already came out?
Yeah.
long-
Came
yeah.
out. They came out like 2 years ago.
No, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I'll probably watch that at some point.
But
But that's it. So that's the cinematography, practical effects, and the shock factor. That's why people like the movie so much.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right.
So
I
as
can
a film, as a film aspect, you're like, hey, good movie.
As a film actor aspect, I'm like, yeah,
But what
it's
about
a good
horror movie?
Horror movie, I would say,
It's a little weak.
well, yeah, it is. It is. I mean,
It's-
scare factor, yeah. Shock factor, no, because it's like, as a horror movie, like I've seen a lot of horror movies where it's like are not scary, but they're good. Like *Malignant*, like it's not scary, but it was.
It's
I
a ride.
liked it,
Yeah.
you know.
Our rating system, I always consider our direct opinions of the movies. That's why I'm like, if you're always like, if you hear one of our things, you're like, that doesn't make any sense, Bobby. Like, yeah, it's because it's my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going off
Yeah.
how much fun I had watching the movie, how much I enjoyed the experience of it. So that's why my rating's so low.
It was just too confusing. There's just too many rules. They didn't make sense. They didn't follow the rules.
So then, because I know your style of horror and how you like it, like otherworldly beings or like a supernatural force that you can't stop. Did this do it for you at any point?
Because
Does it not
none of it
apply?
made sense. It was like they're the like
Because you say sometimes with having rules, it's too much. So by them putting in the rules, you think that's what kind of killed it for you, or what did
Well,
that in
I
for
think
you?
what killed it for him, which was same for me, is by putting in the rules and they don't follow the
yeah.
rules.
Like if you're gonna
That's what kills it.
introduce rules, at least follow them.
And it's not like one character, because fine if like, oh, well, this character doesn't follow the rules, but like,
Like he like you could argue that off. Like oh he doesn't know what's going on.
yeah, or
But
like, oh, he
everyone-
you
doesn't
could
give
argue a
damn.
kid would not know what's going on,
That's
but it's
fine.
like the
Yeah.
fucking
You
grown
could also
man
say
should know
that
what the
this
fuck's
guy
happening.
doesn't
Like-
like to follow rules and he just does whatever. But like, it seems like
Oh.
everybody, including the grandma, doesn't
what was
follow
going
the
on.
rule. Yeah, even the
Everyone
grandma.
knew
that-
what was going on except for the two main characters.
Yeah, and like the
nobody
grandma,
follows
she
the rules.
knew all the rules by heart, and even she it
Wasn't taking it seriously.
Yeah, like she was literally the one that,
First
that
rule,
brought
rule
the
number
light.
1, don't use electric lights. By her rules, don't use electric lights. First thing, like, oh, gotta turn the light on.
All right.
It was a little teddy bear.
One of the
Yeah.
last rules: don't mention evil by his name, and she mentions all the demons' names.
All
in
right,
hell.
there's something you just reminded me of. Did you guys catch that? Like he might have been abusive to the mother, because apparently there was like this. That's why I pointed out the restraining order, and then the demon also says like, oh, you couldn't suffocate them. He says something specific. So I guess, and this is based on what other people interpreted. I didn't catch it honestly. I guess that Pedro tried to suffocate his special son in her, in a house. It's like he covered the vents and tried to suffocate them and failed, and that's why she left him and everything that kicked off after.
I don't know.
Totally missed that. I know, yeah.
That never.
I'll
that never
know.
was
I didn't
brought
see
up.
that. But
I'll take a
also, like-
picture of the shots because I didn't believe it either. I was like, how the fuck did I miss that? And I was like, oh, they specifically mention it, like when Israel or the guy's name at the very end, he's taunting him. Like, oh, like you failed to end him then.
Oh.
He says something then, and then he says, and then she's.
I would say it doesn't make sense because he would be in jail, but the cops don't do anything in this movie. So.
But like the cops hated him. Like they were
Well,
like, he's
here's
trash.
the thing.
Remember?
Well, here's
like
the thing. These
they-
demons, they
and he
talk.
was kind of like,
like a not hermit, but like
they pushed him out. He's an outcast.
yes.
But
and
these
then-
demons, they don't say the truth. That's the thing. They just kind of like
Hey, well,
say
I
the
think she told the
things.
truth about the car.
No. But here's the thing.
And banging
'cause
other people.
I know, but remember how she called him on the phone,
Yeah.
and she was telling him, she's like, I never wanted this kid. Like you gave me a broken
Oh,
kid.
that was so awful.
But in reality, like she's the mother. Of course, she loves the kid, but she was just telling him all these. I don't think they were like the truth. Same.
Well, see, that's why I say it kind of reminded me of the sadness because of like they would say like all these like awful things, but it's like that's just how they feel, like deep seated, how they feel. So there's no filter. It's like, yeah, I love them,
Kind of like the
but
Evil
also
Dead
it's like,
approach.
oh, I feel like I wasted my life like having to take care of your son, and like you were
Yeah.
burdened with him, and I'm stuck with him.
Yeah, you left and not helped me once. Okay.
Yeah.
Then
So I think I don't think they were lying because
It's just, like,
Gabrielle
deep
was like,
down-
oh hey,
okay.
like I'm gonna possess like you and your unborn child or whatever.
and then
Not wrong.
another thing I saw that I heard of that people were like, oh, because there's black smoke coming out of the chimney at the very end. You know, when he comes out of the long shot, he comes out broken down, starts crying because when I saw it, I thought it was just because his mom just died.
Yeah.
But then they were like, oh, because the black smoke coming out of the chimney, he just killed his son because he knows that he's gonna be
that's
yada
not,
yada.
No,
And I was like,
that's not.
I'm trying to find something.
I
to
know,
like
no,
on
that's
this movie.
fine, that's fine.
I'm
But I
just
feel
digging.
like that's way too long of a long shot. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm pretty sure
Like,
that
if
he
you
just
found out
yeah.
like your son ate your mom, you're not gonna be like, all right, into the chimney.
In the
and then
chimney you
break
go.
down. I think you're just
Yeah.
gonna walk out and be like, that's it.
No.
But even then, it's like, what, did he just leave his possessed son inside?
Probably.
And
well, yeah.
He wasn't doing much else throughout the entire.
oh, he
of
was
the
he was
movie.
faking it until at the end. They're like, oh, he's not possessed anymore. But then oh god, I hate that scene. I hate when he looks up at him like, ooh,
I know.
I just ate grandma.
I know.
Like,
He just kind of like looks at him like,
oh my god,
yeah.
I
It
was
was me.
like, they could have shot this much more.
Why would you do this? Like, I'm hungry. He's like, oh, okay,
I thought
He
guess
just
all
gave him
we
a
did-
side eye, and I
I
was
know,
all we
like,
sold
I-
was ice cream.
I found that funny because like as he's like
It was so
noticing the
stupid
thing,
funny,
he kind of
yeah.
like looks at him and looks back down like,
Uh-oh.
uh-oh.
You got me.
so. All right, we're gonna end it there because that's all the stuff I wanted to rant about. Because I was like, I don't know. I tried my best to like find something to like about the movie, and I whatever I pointed out, that's what I did. So 7. Staying at your 7.
I'll stay.
He said 7.5
I'll stay with
originally.
my 7.5.
All right, I'm staying at my 5.5.
I'm staying at my 5.
All right.
And apparently this director is also making a sequel to Terrified, so
Yeah, I'm
We'll
interested.
see.
I'm still interested in what he makes because it's a unique
course.
concept.
yeah.
I'm not gonna not watch what the director creates, but just as it didn't do for me. That's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So-
This gives me a little bit of a dent in his career,
Well, it's-
in my opinion.
It's definitely not a dent in his career. Like
No, I'm
it-
saying for me,
It's
it's
for
like,
you-
for you, but
Yeah.
it was still
Terrified-
successful.
I see Terrified. I was like, oh, this guy's going
do you
places.
think
I
he
see
cares
this, I'm
that
like,
if
ah.
for you it was a dent, for him, he's
It's also harsh to go
Yeah.
hard to go from Terrified to this, which is what we specifically did,
yeah.
and it was like
by his request.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course, because and of course we
appreciate the art in its
yeah.
chronological form, I guess.
So we'll be looking forward to his next work.
Yes, I would look forward to that. All right, well, thank you for watching.
Right.
If you made it this far, go
It was
for
a
it.
long episode.
It was
Unintentionally
A
long.
lot,
longer.
of, a lot of ranting, not fighting,
All right.
ranting,
I think fair ranting.
ranting.
ranting, tangents. They're all good.
Alrighty, guys.
Thanks for watching.
That has been all for this episode of Midnight Mayhem. Make sure to check out us on social media at Midnight Mayhem Podcasts on Instagram as well as on X.
Horror podcast 2.
I still forget the name every time.
That's why I was gonna say it, but I was like, I have no idea what it's called.
Our usernames were taken. What do you want me to do?
It's all good. It's all
That's
good.
fine.
Verified.
All right.
By that check
But that's it for this episode. Catch us in the next episode where we will be talking about.
Don't mention
Nights
it.
at Freddy's. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
I
Oh
hope
yeah,
so.
we did the roulette.
Because it's like, yeah, because I was like, what should I say we're going to do that? And then we just, well, that's on me. Upload
That's
this
on
one.
you.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
in the wrong order again. God
I know.
damn it. All right,
guys.
bye.
Bye.